Hello, my name is Michaela and I'm a social worker here with the University of Kentucky. And you are Claire, correct?
Yes.
And is that what you go by typically?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So, just so you know, I'm going to be using my laptop just so I can like take down some notes so that I have some information about our session, so that whenever we have our next appointment, I can kind of look over it and see what we talked about, anything that we come up with, what you kind of listed as your symptoms. And I would also like to add that anything that we talk about together is going to be completely confidential. I'm not going to share this with anybody,
Okay.
unless anything comes up that you have any plans or intentions of harming yourself or anybody else. But other than that, everything stays between us.
Okay, cool.
So, did someone suggest that you come see me, like your primary care doctor?
Yeah, so like I went to my doctor and he was like, or I said, I get like really irritable sometimes, I guess, just like shouting at people for no reason and stuff like that. And he was like, oh, well, maybe you should go and see this person.
Right, yeah. It sounds like that could be something that we could look at. And today's going to be an intake session, so I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions to get a better understanding of what's going on so we can kind of look at that irritability more. So I hope that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If there's any question that I ask that you don't understand or you want to elaborate on more, please don't hesitate to ask me. And some of these questions might be a little bit difficult or uncomfortable. So if that happens, just let me know and we can skip it. I'm not gonna like make you answer or talk about anything you don't want to talk about.
Okay.
So you mentioned that your primary care doctor sent you here for irritability. Is there anything else that you have going on that you think could go along with that?
I don't know. I guess like recently I've just been like really like distracted. Like I'm having a hard time like focusing on things. Um, my thoughts are just like all over the place, like 24/7. I just feel like they're just like racing around in my mind, and I can't really like put my thought like on one thing. And I guess I've just like been really partying a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound like, and like especially with partying a lot, if you're staying up really late, that can also, kind of add some stress and some irritability. You can kind of get irritated whenever you stay up really late and have to work. So how long have you been having these symptoms?
I don't know. I guess like around like a week and a half or so, and it usually lasts like all day. Like these symptoms, like they're just like all day long.
Oh, that sounds exhausting. So, do you feel like it impairs your daily living? Like, or is there anything that you feel like is affected by these symptoms, like school or work or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like when I'm partying like really late, like I don't know, I just like sleep in because I'm like out so late and stuff, and I miss school, and I feel like, I mean, I guess my grades are suffering for that.
Yeah, I could understand how that would be definitely affecting your grades. So with your symptoms and like how they're affecting your mood and what they're creating for you, do you feel depressed or anxious at all?
Um, I mean, not right now. Like right now, I'm feeling fantastic,
Mhm.
but like I don't know. I guess like I felt depressed before. Um, I mean, like I said, my grades aren't the best, but I'm really just enjoying life and having fun right now. So,
You mentioned earlier that you have a lot of racing thoughts. Do you think that that could possibly be any like anxiety that you might be feeling?
I mean, maybe, but like I'm not really sure.
Have you ever taken a GAD-7?
Mm-mm.
Would you be willing to answer a couple questions for me and we can kind of just see? This is really just so I can like, we can kind of put a number on where you're at right now with your anxiety and then we can use that to kind of see progress as we go along and work together.
Okay.
So, do you want to do that?
Sure.
All right, so I'm just going to ask you some questions, and on this scale, it goes from 0, which is not at all, 1 is several days, 2 is more than half the days, and 3 is nearly every day. So just over the past 2 weeks, kind of tell me how you've been feeling about everything, all right?
Okay.
So the first one is feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge.
I guess like what you said, like 1 through 3.
Yeah.
So I guess like 2.
Okay. Not being able to stop or control your worrying.
Like 1.
Alrighty. Worrying too much about different things.
One.
Any trouble relaxing, like you lay down and you just can't like get relaxed.
Yeah, I guess like that would be a 3.
Being so restless, it's hard to sit still. Like if you do get downtime, you just want to get up and like walk around. You don't really want to sit.
Yeah, like 3.
Becoming easily annoyed or irritable.
Yeah.
Feeling afraid as if something awful might happen.
I guess like 1.
How difficult have these problems made it to do work, take care of things at home, or get along with other people? Not at all, somewhat difficult, very difficult, or extremely difficult.
I guess very difficult.
All right. So that puts you at 14 points, which is about like a moderate score. So there's definitely some anxiety there. So we can kind of work on that also along with the other symptoms that you've identified and kind of work as them like all together as a whole and kind of see what we can do with those.
Okay.
And you mentioned that you aren't feeling depressed right now. So have you like had a lot of episodes where you've been feeling depressed or?
Yeah, I guess there's like times when I'm just like really depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like it's the exact opposite of like, I don't know, just like how I feel now.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Kind of like you have periods of some excitement, like you're really on top of the world, and then you
Yeah.
kind of just deflate almost. Yeah. So whenever you're feeling depressed, how long does that usually last for you?
I guess like 2 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm. How about your sleeping habits? Are you getting enough sleep at night?
No, I don't usually, yeah. Like around this time when I'm like feeling this way, like I don't sleep much.
Mm-hmm. Whenever you're excited and stuff, you don't really sleep a lot. What about eating? Are you eating as much as you should or too much or?
Yeah, I guess I'm eating okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you ever like forget important details about yourself? Like, are you ever just kind of like forgetting stuff that you should probably think that you would remember?
Oh yeah, like all the time.
What about any substances like alcohol, marijuana?
Well, like, I guess like I drink alcohol and I've like smoked weed before, and like I've occasionally done like cocaine, but it's like not a big deal or anything. Like it's only at parties.
Mm-hmm. So, whenever you the cocaine, is that more of like a something you've just done like a couple times, or like
yeah.
every time you go out, or just like?
No, I've only done it like a couple of times.
Oh, okay. And the symptoms that we've talked about, do they ever like cause you to consider harming yourself or anybody else?
I mean, like in the past when I've gotten like really depressed, I mean, I've considered hurting myself, and like I did attempt suicide like a few years ago, but like I was just like really depressed and I began cutting and stuff. But I mean, I haven't been doing any of that recently.
Okay. So during those times that you were feeling this way, like what was there anything going on in your life that caused you to feel like that, or?
I guess I was just like really feeling down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the hospital? Were you ever like admitted to the hospital for it?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been to a therapist or counseling before?
Yeah, like my parents like noticed I was cutting and stuff, so like they sent me a couple of like to a therapist, but I only went like a couple of times.
So you didn't really get anywhere with them. You just kind of went a couple times, did the basic information and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they probably didn't like prescribe you any medication or anything.
Okay.
And so you've never been in like an inpatient therapy where you went and stayed in a hospital or a treatment facility?
No.
Has anyone in your family ever had any of these symptoms?
I mean, like my grandmother used to be like very irritable like a lot, but I always thought she was just like mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like she used to do a lot of stuff that my family didn't like. Like she would go out and hang out with other men and stuff like that, and like I guess like cheat on my grandpa and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
She was also like really full of herself, but like I just thought she was mean.
Yeah, I could definitely understand how you would think that. Especially whenever it can seem whenever you're a kid, if someone's irritable, that they might be like pointing it towards you and they might not like you.
Yeah.
Has anyone in your family ever experienced like a severe trauma, like
Mm-mm.
possibly seeing like a car wreck or anything where someone might have died or something graphic?
No, not that I can think of.
Have you ever experienced any trauma?
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, this one time, like, my dad threw, like, a beer bottle at my mom, but I mean, like, not really traumatic.
Mm-hmm. Has anyone in your family ever committed suicide?
No.
Has anyone in your family ever had a substance abuse disorder?
I mean, like, my brother was an alcoholic, but he's been, like, sober for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Has anyone in your family ever had any anxiety or depression as a diagnosis or any other?
Yes, my mother had, like, so much anxiety.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, I guess, like, living with my grandmother was, like, making her super anxious.
Mm-hmm. Did your mom have any difficulties whenever she was pregnant with you? Has she ever talked about that?
I'm not sure.
No, okay. How about your school life whenever you were in high school? Did you like have any like bullying issues?
I mean, like, no, not really. Like, I was, like, the popular kid, so, like, I had, like, tons of friends and everything.
What about now in college? Do you think do you have a lot of friends?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, I go to parties, like, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have any learning problems or behavioral problems? Did you ever get in trouble in school?
No.
You mentioned earlier that that you used alcohol. So around what time would you say that you first started using alcohol?
I guess, like, around 16, when I was 16.
And was that pretty like heavy? Like, did you use it steadily from 16 up until now, or was it kind of off and on?
It was off and on. Mainly when I'm just, like, partying.
Mm-hmm. And marijuana, is that about the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At the same age, and like I said, I've only done, like, coke, like, twice.
Mhm.
And it was only, like, when I got to college.
Okay. And you've never received any treatment for, okay. And have you ever like been to jail or anything or gotten any legal trouble for drugs or substances?
No, no one's ever caught me.
No, okay. So who did you grow up with in your house?
My parents. But they, like, divorced when I was turned 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to go live with my mom. And I also have 2 brothers.
Okay. How old are your brothers? Are they older than you or younger?
They're both older.
How was your relationship with your family?
I mean, I had, like, a really good relationship with my mom, but, like, not my dad. My mom and I have always, like, been really close. Like, we tell each other everything. Like, we go shopping together and stuff. And, like, I'm on good terms with my brothers, but, like, I wouldn't say that we have, like, a really close relationship.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the way that your dad acted sometimes, do you think that that had anything to do with, like, you and your mom being pretty close?
Yeah, I guess, like, I don't know. He would just, like, always yell and stuff, and it was just, like, so annoying and be, like, so mean to her.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you're in college, so is that what you're doing? You're in college right now? What year are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Okay. Have you recently had any stressors, like, around your life? Like any death? You mentioned divorce, but that was a while ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like I said, like, just my parents' divorce and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was, I guess, kind of stressful, but other than that.
And you could even really, like, possibly consider college itself, because that's a big transition, moving out of home and going to a new place.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, you have you have a lot of friends. You have a good support system. Would you consider your friends like a good support?
I mean, like, yeah, I guess. Like, I don't know. When we're out partying, like, everything's cool, but, like, sometimes they're just, like, not good friends when we're not out.
Mm-hmm. So who would you consider your biggest support?
Probably my mom.
And is that like a pretty high level of support that you have with your mom?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you were growing up, did you ever experience any abuse, any verbal, sexual, physical?
I mean, my dad, like I said, he would, like, always yell at my mom and stuff, and, like, just, like, be really mean to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he would do the same stuff to me too.
So you mentioned that you party a lot. Is that kind of how you're coping with everything?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Like, if I needed, like, anything to cope with, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Other than any like mental health aside, do you have any medical conditions?
I mean, like I have asthma.
So like you don't have it, do you take any medications or anything?
I just have like an inhaler, but like that's it.
Okay. Do you ever smoke cigarettes?
No.
And what about exercise? Do you ever exercise?
I mean, like, yeah, sometimes I like run, but like not often. I haven't done it in a long time.
Whenever you do run, would you say that it's kind of like a de-stressor almost? Like, does it kind of make you like feel better?
Yeah, for sure. It makes me feel like I'm in this like stage that I'm like in now, you know?
Mm-hmm. That really like high up, elevated feeling. Do you ever like have any pains in your body? Like, do you ever hurt anywhere?
Sometimes when I'm depressed, I have some like back pain and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but like that's it.
Alrighty. Have you ever been in the hospital for any like anything that's not mental health, like any like surgeries or anything?
No.
Do you ever hear any voices that other people don't, or see things that other people don't?
Mm-mm.
Alright. What strengths do you see in yourself?
I mean, like, overall, like, I'm, like, pretty great at everything I try. Like, anytime, like, I try something new, like, I just, like, feel like I'm really good at it and, like, I succeed, like, more than other people and stuff. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you'd say you're, like, pretty adaptable. You can work with things and, like, figure out a way to make it successful with you.
Yeah.
So with us working together, what are you hoping to accomplish? Like, what's your goal for us working together?
I mean, like, I guess, like, my irritable moods and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, my friends don't really like it, or, like, my mom doesn't really like it when I get moody and, like, yell at her, or, like, them. So just kind of, like, working on that, I guess.
I could understand how that could definitely be a barrier for some relationships, because that's a lot for some people to take. So for a goal, would you say that a good one for us to start with, and we can always fix these or change them or add new ones, but for right now, for our session, would you think that a good starting goal would be helping you maintain a stable mood?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I just want to be like this, like, stage that I'm at is, like, really fun and stuff, but, like, I just want, like, kind of to be leveled and stuff. Not be really irritable or anything like that. Just because, like, it just messes with, like, my friends and stuff, and messes with my mom, and, like, all this partying and stuff messes with my grades.
So if we were to refer you to a psychiatrist for like a second opinion, and they could also prescribe you medication, would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. And also I was thinking that maybe we could work on journaling, so you could keep a journal, like a daily log of how you're feeling, your moods. If anything triggers you, like if you get to a point where you start feeling really upset or you get in one of those irritable moods, you can kind of write down like if anything happened to set you off to make you feel that way. So we can kind of have a log and see if there's a common occurrence or if these are just like sporadic. Also working on creating a stable routine, which we could also journal, like kind of waking up at the same time every day, kind of having a plan laid out for how you're going to work your day, because creating a stable routine is going to help you also create an overall stability with your life. Potentially like working with support groups, because it does help to have other people around you who are going through the same thing, so you can talk to more people about what's going on. And working on problem solving so that we can build you up on some coping mechanisms that aren't going out and partying every weekend.
For sure.
That way you can focus on your schoolwork. Like you said, it was affecting your grades, so I'm sure that you would love to have other coping mechanisms. So we can definitely work on some of that. So do those sound like okay things for us to work on to you?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Like, I'll definitely try it.
All right. So we can start working on those during our next session. I have a time open for the same time next week if that works, or if you would rather go 2 weeks, we can push it out. I know you're busy, you're in school, so it's totally up to you how long you want to wait and what time.
I mean, I guess I don't have any classes like this time next week, so we can just do that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll take you up front and we can go ahead and get you scheduled in for next week.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.